Smith Lake, Alabama television. I'm Debbie Wood along with Jeff Seal, and we're on his dock, and we're going to give you a little information I think that you're going to find very interesting. People like me don't have a clue, and we always turn to Jeff or to my husband, Wendell Wood, that sort of keeps up with what Alabama Power is doing, or we're trying to keep up with what they're doing, right?
How are you doing today,
I'm good.
Debbie
How about
Wood?
you?
I'm doing pretty dang good.
Good.
Yeah, doing
Beautiful
all right.
day.
Can I tell a joke yet?
Absolutely. Tell a joke.
Not
Not a bad joke.
Huh? Not a bad one?
No. A funny one.
Horse walks into a bar. Bartender says, "Why the long face?" Come on.
See, I don't even get that.
All right, so today we're talking about lake level, and if you're new to the lake, Smith Lake is not only is it for flood control, but it's also a power generating lake, but for Alabama Power. Well, so they save the water up during the winter, and they use it during the summer for power generation. Well, during the winter time, they lower the lake for flood controls to prepare for the rains in the spring. So normally, full pool at Smith Lake is about 510. So that's 510 feet MSL, or mean sea level. So that's normal. During the winter, they will lower the lake as much as down to, I've seen it as low as 492.
Oh, wow.
So that's, what is that? That's math in public here, Debbie.
That's 18 feet. Yes, 18
That's
feet.
18 feet.
Wow, so you're saying we're at 508 right now.
No, right now we're at 503. So they've
503.
already started lowering the
Okay.
lake. Normally it's 510.
So 7
we're almost
feet
down 7 feet already.
Okay.
So they'll lower it another. I was talking to Wendell, our director and producer, and he said that normally they try to keep it around 495, but I have seen it
495, okay.
lower. I have seen it during the floods of about 3 years ago. It went all the way up to 521,
Did
I
it
believe.
really?
So it was very high.
Way up,
So
okay.
the point being here, if you've got a dock, you need to monitor the cables that hold your dock in place. And as the water goes up and down, you need to adjust your cables. Fortunately, I have great neighbors like Wendell and Debbie,
Yes.
who will check my my cables when I'm out on a trip,
Right.
and away from home, and I also check theirs. So if you have somebody, a nice neighbor that can help you out and check your cables, but they need to be adjusted. As the water goes down, you may need to let them out. As the water goes up, you may need to wind those cables up. So
Okay.
Wendell, if you could just look over here at my pan over to my shore, you'll see it's we're already down about 7 feet, and this is normal. They start dropping the lake about the first or second week in August.
Okay.
Is
Okay.
that about
So
right,
that's
Debbie?
about right,
I
yeah.
think that's about right.
So we are on Rock Creek, beautiful, beautiful Rock Creek, and if you're familiar, if you live on Smith Lake, of course you're familiar with Rock Creek, and if you're out watching in another state or whatever, and you want to visit, I highly recommend Smith Lake, Alabama. It's just one of the cleanest in the country.
It is. So a little bit more about your cables, and
Yes.
if you're gone for a period of time and you don't adjust your cables, well,
Right.
they can really wreck your dock. That's the if you get too much tension in them, the cables can break. They can damage your winches. They can damage your pulleys. The pulleys are otherwise known as snatch blocks. They help hold your dock in place in reference to the shoreline. So it's very important, if you're new to this lake, you've got to check your cables probably on a weekly basis.
As it's fluctuating.
Absolutely.
Okay.
From after the spring rains and when it's full pool, the lake will stay at full pool plus or minus a foot or so during the first couple of months of summer, which is the Alabama Power is pretty good about managing that during the summer. But like I say, when it starts dropping in August, you've really got to stay on top of your cables, or it will damage your dock. It'll break your cables.
And you know, you can tell Jeff's we're on his walkway,
Right.
and it's up just a little bit, and it's able to maintain pretty much this level, is that correct? It
Well,
depends on- Oh, you let it
at
out.
full
That's
pool,
what- yeah.
at full pool, it'll be
Yeah.
a level walk to the
Gotcha.
to the shoreline. Now, as
Right.
the water goes down, we're kind of walking downhill as we go to my dock, and
Right.
it'll drop about another 7 feet
7 more feet. Wow.
or so, maybe 8 or 9 if it's a really dry winter. But like I said, they're creating capacity in the lake for the spring rains.
Sure.
So it doesn't flood either here or downstream.
Right.
So
And you had mentioned earlier about a few years back that with all the heavy rains that we had, it went to 522.
it did.
Now
It
that
was-
had to be unreal.
Oh yeah,
your
it was.
yards.
Yeah, I mean, it was getting to my dock. I was walking uphill, and it went about 2/3 of the way up my lawn.
Did it really?
Yeah, and it stayed flooded. The water stayed up there probably about 6 weeks.
Oh, did it really that
yeah,
long?
it stayed
See?
up there quite a while.
And that's the reason we can't build too close to the
Yeah,
shoreline, isn't it?
Absolutely
I mean,
not.
there's a lot of
Can't do
reasons.
anything below 522, people.
No,
nothing below
nothing at all.
522.
So, if you have any questions, of course, you need to call Alabama Power. But Jeff, I think, gave you a lot of good information.
Yeah.
And when we do our next segment, I think you're gonna really enjoy it also, because he's getting ready to take a trip, and a big trip, and we're gonna learn all about that. And before we do that segment, we're gonna do one and talk about your Mastercraft. You've got the most prettiest. It's a beautiful boat. Most
is.
beautiful boat.
Best
And,
investment I ever made.
I was going to say, so we'll talk about that in just a few minutes.